You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the show. It's great to have you here today on part 2 of our Cabral HouseCalls. We're going to be diving right into all of the questions within the next minute. Excited to get into them. Hopefully, you tuned in yesterday. We were going through detox questions. We were going through weight loss, wellness questions. We went through, should you fast if you are working out in the morning? We talked about firefighters and all the chemicals they are exposed to. Talked about autophagy, talked about Hashimoto's. What else did we chat about? We also looked at leaky gut-based syndrome and how to go about resolving that, as well as decreasing your food sensitivities. So you to tune into yesterday's show. That was at stephencabral.com/1331. And one thing I want to mention too before we get started, hopefully you are signed up for my email newsletter list. I just send out one email a week on Sundays. I call it my Sunday Rewind. And since this show is live on Sunday, I wanted to share that with you. Anywhere at stephencabral.com, at least for right now, there's a little drop down that says, hey, grab my free welcome kit. And that just gives you shake recipes and all sorts of fun stuff like one workout, just things to get you into that healthy lifestyle. And then along with that, I send one email a week recapping anything that you may have missed. And then also just kind of giving you my thoughts over the past week and what's coming for this week. So definitely, if you haven't done that, you can head on over to stephencabral.com. It's free. There's, just recaps the week. I think it's kind of nice. I enjoy writing that once a week email. And hopefully you are getting that as well. All right. Hopefully now, too, you know what the house calls are all about. Each and every week, we answer our community's questions that people write in at stephencabral.com/askcabral. We are running about 6 weeks behind on answering your questions. Not because we want to be 6 weeks behind, but simply so many questions have come in that what we do is we answer them in the order they are received. Every day, though, you can get your questions answered at cabralsupportgroup.com. That is a free Facebook group where we are able to provide free health coaching, not medical coaching, but health coaching to resolve a lot of the health-based issues you may be suffering from. So always feel free to reach out myself and my team right there. Now, let's dive right into the show. The first question is from Valerie. Valerie's writing in, hi, Dr. Cabral. I know you've done podcasts on this before, but I'm having trouble finding the one I'm thinking of. I know you disagree with the intake of dairy due to its inflammation properties, but where do you stand on lactose-free milk, yogurt, or goat dairy? Is it less or as safe as nut alternative? Okay, yeah, it's a great question. So there's multiple reasons why I don't like cow's milk. I work with so many babies in our practice and see massive amounts of eczema and sometimes psoriasis and cradle cap, skin rashes, oozing eyes, and overall inflammation in a baby. And I say, okay, we can test. Now, I'll give you my food sensitivity testing in just a moment, but let's be careful using the cow's milk-based formula. So oftentimes, the mom will switch to a goat milk-based one for her baby or a different type of formula, and lo and behold, those issues go away. So, again, like the acid reflux in babies, the colicky babies, all those things, we look for that. Now, again, I'm not saying that's the right decision for you, but I want to throw that out there. The other thing is this, is we do a lot of food sensitivity testing, and we see that the number one, not number two, not number 3 or 5, the number one food sensitivity from an IgG perspective is cow's milk. Okay. So we know that the majority of people are going to have that sensitivity. And it's there's multiple reasons why. And I've gone through that on the show. So let's see if we can find that for you. So anytime you need to find answers, head on over to stevencabral.com/podcast. And you can also ask it at cabralsupportgroup.com. So, all right, if we scroll down and we just type in milk, let's see what pops up. Well, we have 53 search results. All right, so let's refine that further because I know it's like one of the first 100 shows I ever did. So let's type in like milk is not a health food. Let's see if that pops up. Well, we're down to 46. So now I'm going to scroll to the very last page because I know it was one of the first podcasts I ever did. The Dangers of Drinking Milk, episode 77. All right. And then episode 185. And that's what I would do. I would check out episode 77 way back in the day, about 3.5 years ago, and then check out episode 185, Milk Does Not Do a Body Good. So I would definitely check that out. Okay. So let me give you a couple more answers to your question. The only reason people do dairy is one, it's delicious. Most people believe it's delicious. And the second is they're doing it because they say, oh, it builds nice, healthy, strong bones. Well, that's debatable because I can give you a lot of studies that show it actually causes more osteoporosis. So there's that. And also, it's not raw milk, right? Raw milk is very different than homogenized milk as well as a lot of the other not great alternatives. But let's just say you were talking about a grass-fed cow that you got the milk from. Little different story, but still, there's the food sensitivity element and the larger protein molecules. Now, goat's milk and sheep's milk is a much better alternative. So if you're going to do a yogurt, and I just talked about this actually on a podcast last week. I know that you wrote in on August 21st, so you wouldn't have heard this, but goat's milk and sheep milk yogurt is a much better choice. Okay, go for the unsweetened. Add your own berries in there or smash up your own berries and make it into a little jam and then mix that around. Delicious. You can do that. So every once in a while, my girls will get some goat milk yogurt or sheep milk yogurt, and we'll do exactly that. Maybe put some pomegranate seeds on top that they love. But for the most part, we don't do yogurts. We just don't do those types of things. We're not against it. I'm not against it. I would be against it for daily use, but every once in a while. And then you could do the coconut milk yogurts. Those would be fine too. Again, I just don't trend as much in that direction. But hopefully that answers your question. Goat, sheep, yes, much less of a sensitivity. I would still test your children after they've been using those for a couple weeks with the food sensitivity test that you can do right at home. Just type in food sensitivity at equilibriumnutrition.com in the search box under labs or just at the search box and you'll find it. All right, hopefully that answers your question. John's up next. John says, I have white dots all over my arms. I've gotten more and more with age. They look like loss of pigmentation. I also have a lot of freckles too. Is there some sort of deficiency that causes this, or is it just aging? John, thank you for writing in. Well, certainly you can get a little bit more freckles with sun-based exposure. However, the white dots are more pronounced with sun exposure, and it can actually mean that you may have some type of fungal overgrowth in the body, as well as a zinc-based deficiency. Now, there are other reasons why. But in my practice, those are the most pronounced reasons. So I always want to give you, I like to use Occam's razor all the time. Occam's razor is the simplest explanation is typically always right, and it's the easiest what to look for, right? And if that doesn't work, well, then you can look at other things, but this is the easiest answer because this is typically what we see. So what I recommend is this. Run the starter kit. And the starter kit is the organic acids test. I think we're renaming it now like the complete gut testing or whatever it might be. But we'll link it up. It's just if you click on organic acids test, it'll take you over there. And then the hair tissue mineral analysis. Hair tissue mineral analysis will look at your zinc levels, okay? So super easy. Organic acid test gives you, is there yeast overgrowth? And it also looks at all your vitamins and detox factors. It's an amazing test. And then you have the hair tissue mineral analysis that looks at your minerals. So remember, part of aging is typically a depletion of a lot of your reserves. So you can say, yes, it's part of aging, but it shouldn't be, right? Because we can correct those things. So I recommend running the starter kit, which is the organic acids test and hair tissue mineral analysis combined. And I think that over at Equilibrium, you save $100 on those. All right, John, hopefully that helps. And of course, if you didn't want to run the labs, you could certainly take something like balanced zinc, or you can also run the CBO protocol for maybe some yeast overgrowth. Okay. All right. Sarah's up next. Hi, Dr. Steven. First off, thank you very much for sharing all of your knowledge through your podcast. I by no means claim to be a health guru, but your podcast has helped me to make some significant changes in my diet and lifestyle, and they have proven to work. So thank you. I wanted to reach out and ask about your daily nutritional shake. I started using your products about 6 months ago, and I make a daily breakfast smoothie with a daily nutritional support shake in either flavor, along with your collagen and magnesium as well. However, I have a family member who is very into supplements and are representatives of the Isagenix brand. I used these products for about 6 years before stumbling upon your podcast and others, and realized that I can do better and be cleaner in my diet. My family hasn't been able to accept the fact that I'm no longer using the Isagenix products. And nearly every time we meet with them, they preach to me how this new shake you're taking does not give you the minerals and vitamins that you need. Can you speak to all of this at all? I do feel supplementing is important, but would it be helpful to get some professional insight on how I am in fact getting what I need through your Equilibrium products? Any and all help would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. All right, Sarah, thank you for writing in, and I'm so happy to hear this is what it's all about, that you're doing better. So I love to hear that. Love to hear also that you are always moving forward. That's what it's all about, right? So this is a great question, but the truth is this. I have nothing against Isagenix. I'm sure they're amazing people, but Isagenix is a multi-level marketing company, and their job is to bring you into their network. Now, again, I have nothing against a multi-level marketing company. I really don't. As long as it's a great product, it's a great product. But if someone's saying that an Isagenix shake is better than the functional medicine formula we produce for a clinical-based practice, that is a little strange. And here's why. You can actually put them side by side. And if you can share this with your family if you want, but I want to make sure that I'm not coming down on anyone or any other product. That's never been my goal. There are people out there who try to make their living tearing others down. Like that's what they do. They try to tear down this company and tear down that person. I believe in building everyone up. And Isagenix has actually tried to improve their product over the years, and I love that about them. I love that Weight Watchers has gotten more away from like counting, just looking at food as points. Like they're doing a little bit better of a job. Is it perfect? No, but like they're moving in the right direction. Crunch Fitness, right? No, not Crunch. What is it called? Kind of like that little circuit that women and men, but it was mainly, I think it promoted to women, would go in and they would just do these 8 exercises over and over and over. What was it? Curves. Was it curves? I believe it was curves. I'm not positive. But anyway, they're doing great things for the industry. They're getting people into it, but there are next levels to this. So keep in mind, I'm looking right now at the Isagenix Shake Creamy Dutch Chocolate. Here's the thing. This is their meal replacement. First of all, it's made with whey protein concentrate. It's made with milk protein concentrate, okay? And those are not the best things for your digestive system. I just talked about them in the previous question. Have your family that are on the Isagenix shakes do a food sensitivity test. Are they creating inflammation in their body from putting all this dairy in? The other thing is they don't use functional medicine vitamins for all of them. If you look at it, they're using zinc oxide. They're not using zinc citrate. They're not using zinc picolinate. This is not a good quality one. Now, they do use the good form of vitamin A, which is great. They use the good form of D3. I love to see that. They do not use the best form of chromium. They use chromium chloride, okay? They don't use the chromium polynicotinate or other forms of chromium. For vitamin B12, they use cyanocobalamin. No functional medicine doctor or functional medicine practitioner or formulator would ever use B12 combined with a cyanide molecule, okay? That means when you're taking in B12, you're taking in cyanide along with it. Now, yes, we get that from certain foods, but we don't want to overdo that, and that is their highest vitamin in there for B12, so not a great idea. The other thing is that they are claiming, or your friend's claiming, that they have more vitamins and minerals in theirs. They're not getting enough vitamins and minerals. Well, let's take a look. Let's take an honest look. They provide 50% of your vitamin D. We provide 100%. They provide 50% of vitamin A. We provide 100%. They have 45% of vitamin E. We have 100%. They provide 70% of riboflavin. We provide over 100%. B6, they provide 60%. We provide over 100%. B12, 210%. Well, we have about 1,000 times that. For B5, pantothenic acid, they have 40%. We have over 100. Iodine, they have 40. We have well over that. We have 100% of all RDA. So I don't want to like go back and forth. They have 45% of zinc. We have over 100%. They have 50% of copper. We have copper. We have over 100. I mean, I could go on and on. None of theirs are 100% of the RDA because I don't want to like slander them, but I want to be honest, right? So remember, but you can do this too. You can just look at the label and put that label against our label, right? And this is not a competition. Honestly, it's not a competition. You don't even have to use the Equilibrium Nutrition brand. I never say that. But you have to know that it is the best out there. It's the best out there. But you know what? There are other best too. But Isagenix is not one of the other ones. And I don't say that to be mean, but it's the truth. Because they're not a functional medicine-based company. This is not used for clinical practice. A functional medicine doctor or integrative health practitioner is not going to use this brand. Not because it's a bad brand, but because it's not functional medicine formulated. They don't have the best vitamins. It's not 100% of RDA, and it's missing a lot. So I know, Sarah, I went on and on there, but people ask me about Isagenix all the time. So this is that definitive show. And again, nothing against the company. I like the company. I have no problem with them. It's just not a functional medicine company. That's all. All right, Sue's up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. I'm at a loss. I feel like I have zero willpower and felt that I must be the stupidest person on the planet. I have loads of knowledge of health and wellness and have had massive health gains over the past few years. My family community see me as their health and wellness go-to, but I fear I'm just a fraud. I've lost about 30 kilos through completing certain types of elimination diets. I have even completed 2 21-day detoxes. I gain weight very quickly after I complete a protocol. I usually gain at least 7 pounds in the first week. That I return to regular eating. After this, I feel deflated and thus start overeating. I'll just change that to I so people can read this. I do so well when I'm on protocol, but after a few weeks I'm done, I start binge eating and overeating. Once I start overeating, it's like I have this insatiable hunger. I could literally eat all day and never feel satiated. I think it's a mental thing because a few times I've even eat gluten during a binge and caused great pain to myself because I have celiac disease. The past year, I've lost and gained the same 10 kilos 4 times. I don't know what is wrong with me, why I'm so weak, why I gain so quickly, and what I can do. Do you have any suggestions for why I can't break this vicious cycle? Sue, first of all, this is not just you. I mean, I know that you feel you're all alone and that this is unique to you, but we hear this at least once a week in our practice. And this is so keep in mind, about 25 to 33% of our practice is actually working with other doctors, health coaches, nurses, acupuncturists on their own health, right? I mean, personal trainers, you name it. Our company, our practice, we work with a lot of other coaches and doctors on there. And like they say this all the time and they say it in confidence. And so obviously you just use your first name, which is great because we keep everything in confidence. What can I tell you though? That this is not uncommon. It sounds to me like you have a gut-based dysfunction, which is causing, though, a lot of anxiety and absorption issues. What do I mean by that? Well, keep in mind 2 things. 1, you're doing the protocol, you have willpower for a certain amount of time, you're doing great, but your body, and you gave a kind of a tip-off with celiac there, most likely has an inflamed gut, so it's helping when you're doing like the detox or something like that. But once you start introducing those foods, the inflammation comes back. I believe that there's most likely an absorption issue. So your body is feeling like it needs to eat more and more calories to extract the same amount of nutrition because it can't absorb it well enough. I couldn't recommend enough the Big 5 labs to you. We'll be able to look at your omega-3 levels, your hormone levels, because this could be hormonal as well. We'll be able to look at your mineral levels, your vitamin levels, and also if you have yeast overgrowth or bacterial overgrowth, we'll be able to look at those things. I can't recommend that enough. I know that you will get the personalized protocol that you need to get yourself finally back on track and being able to maintain that for life. Now, if you can't do the Big 5 labs, here's what I'm going to recommend in order. So if finances are an issue, that's okay. Let's do them in this order. Organic acids test first. Hair tissue mineral analysis second. Thyroid adrenal hormone third. Omega-3 testing 4th, and then the food sensitivity testing would be 5th. Those are the Big 5. I'd recommend them in that order for you so that we can look at your gut first. All right? Thank you for writing in, Sue, and I have no doubt we'll be able to help. No doubt. Okay. Looking for your opinion on lithium orotate, how and when to use it, brand, and dosage to take. Thank you. Okay. Lithium orotate, often used for people with depression, sometimes seasonal affective, sometimes bipolar, and I know that sometimes those aren't the most proper terms to use, but that's how most people know these different types of mental health issues by. Okay, so they can be highly beneficial. I don't recommend just taking lithium orotate unless you're working with a healthcare practitioner or doctor, because lithium orotate can actually be by prescription as well, meaning like it's very strong, right? And it's meant to be done at a smaller dose. However, larger doses are used and often seen to be highly effective in what's called orthomolecular medicine. And again, this is something that I am a big proponent of. I learned orthomolecular medicine quite some time ago, studied it for many, many years, obviously still use it today in my practice when formulating. So I like the benefits of lithium, but I never use it in my practice unless it's like last resort. Now, keep in mind, I've been practicing quite a long time. I've used it exactly once, honestly, exactly once in all of the years I've been practicing all the appointments. So we used it with someone that was just not getting the benefits from counseling, therapy, nutritional supplements, etc. And again, it's rare, but it does happen. So we gave them that. I can't say it was the end-all be-all, but maybe it did help them to stabilize a bit more so they could get more out of their therapy and counseling and sleep, etc. So lithium orotate is the best form of lithium to take, the orotate-based form. And then the dosage should always be smallest dose first, work up weekly to make sure that you don't get any of the neuralgia or headaches or other issues that can almost feel like detox when you're taking it. So work with a practitioner, start at the smallest dose if you're choosing to, and make sure it's obviously the right choice for you. So hopefully that was helpful. All right, let's get in one more question today. Darren's up next. Hey, Dr. Cabral, you regularly recommend blueberries in smoothie for breakfast. I'm from Caribbean, so we import them frozen. I was wondering if makwai berries are also effective, better or worse, to use as a substitute, given in the powdered version is available to us. As always, keep up the great work. Thank you, Darren. I appreciate that. And you're from the Caribbean. Amazing. Sounds fantastic. So, I don't know how to pronounce the makwai. I think it's makwai. It's MAQUI. I certainly know what they are. They are a dark berry that comes from South America. I know that they do come in powdered form, but here's the thing. You could use another berry. So you could use mixed berries if you have organic mixed berries down there. And if you wanted to use a powder, that's okay too. You could use the daily fruit and vegetable blend that a lot of people use. That's 22 organic fruits and vegetables mixed in. Pretty amazing that it's a couple servings of vegetables that you don't even have to eat, and it doesn't have the sugar in there. You could certainly try the makwai, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, powder. You could also use acai powder. You could use that. That would work fine. Any antioxidant powder would be great. So I have no problem with that, but you're already on the right track, right? You're doing great things. It's kind of like, hey, how great can we make this, right? So, but frozen is also okay. As long as they're wild blueberries that are frozen, that's great. They could also be organic blueberries. That would be okay too. It's just wild blueberries are smaller. They have more skin, which means they have more antioxidant. Honestly, this is called the hierarchy of health now, and you're already doing great. It's like, how high can we take you on this hierarchy? So keep up the great work, Darren. Thank you for writing in. Everyone, I appreciate you. I appreciate your listens. I appreciate your downloads. If you found today's podcast helpful, if you could leave a review over at iTunes or whatever your media player is, it would take less than 30 seconds. I would appreciate that. Thank you so much and take care. We're going to keep that at today. And don't forget, tomorrow, Mindset and Motivation Monday. All right. I want to sincerely thank you for your support of this podcast. I couldn't do it without you, and I mean that. I truly do. I also want to make sure you knew that we now have multiple ways for you to find your answers to the most difficult health, wellness, weight loss, and anti-aging questions. You can find podcast-specific topics like thyroid, adrenal, hormones, sleep, digestion, Ayurveda, and many more at stevencabral.com/podcasts that will then link you to your favorite Apple, Spotify, and other podcast players. Plus, all new podcasts and weekly exclusive video content is being added to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Stephen Cabral. And that's Stephen with a PH. Head on over and subscribe so that you don't miss any of the exclusive content. Lastly, if you've ever found any of my podcasts or books to be helpful, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a review on iTunes or your favorite media player for the podcast. Rating and subscribing to the YouTube and podcast allow me to reach more and more people and help spread my mission of healing throughout the world. Thank you again for being a part of this movement.